Feral children are intriguing because they show what can happen to children who aren't properly socialized. Let's take a glimpse at a few notable cases. In 1954, Marina Chapman was only 5 years old when she was kidnapped from a small village in Colombia. Marina's captors dumped her into the jungle where she began living with a family of capuchin monkeys. Living with the monkeys, she shared their lifestyle of eating berries, sleeping in holes, and practiced similar grooming techniques. It was concluded she spent 5 years with the monkeys, though the actual time could not be measured. Needless to say, she lost all of her language capabilities and was walking on all fours. After being found by hunters, her life got much worse as she was sold into a brothel and enslaved by a family who belonged to the mafia. She claims a neighbor saved her, and after she made her way to Bradford, Yorkshire, starting a new life. Marina married and had children. Marina wrote a book about her upbringing by the monkeys with her daughter. However, many refused to support the book, claiming Marina made the story up. Some even claim she fantasized the whole thing as a child. Marina had no memory of her early childhood before she was kidnapped and tossed into the jungle. This fact leaves many skeptical because they believe if she can't remember her early childhood, how could she possibly remember being raised by monkeys? In the Ukraine, Oksana was born to alcoholic parents who neglected her, leaving her outside at the age of 3. Seeking warmth from the cold, 3-year-old Oksana found it with dogs outside in a kennel. When Oksana turned 8 years old, a neighbor finally reported what was going on. When found, Oksana's development was hampered, and she could only speak 2 words, yes and no. The child walked on all fours and sniffed her food before eating it. It is said she had no trace of self-awareness and did not recognize her own reflection in the mirror. After being rescued, Oksana was put into therapy to allow her to develop verbal and social skills. Slowly she was able to speak but lacked the ability to express emotions. Into her adult years, Oksana became able to speak fluently and wound up working on a farm. There are reports of her giving interviews in 2013 where she discussed her longing to be seen as normal and to not be referred to as the dog woman. She also expressed her wish to come in contact with her birth mother. In Uganda during the mid-1980s, John Essebunya ran away from home at a young age of 3 because he witnessed his mother being murdered by his father. When John ran away, vervet monkeys took him in and he survived in their care. In 1991, a tribeswoman named Millie found him and attempted to capture him. John resisted, and so did his adopted family of monkeys who threw sticks at Millie and the villagers who tried to help. Following John's capture, it is said that he developed hypertrichosis, which is excessive hair growth, and he was also defecating worms. After being identified and cleaned up, he was handed over to an orphanage. It was determined John could not initially speak or cry because of the length of time he spent in the wild isolated from human contact. However, he eventually became able to speak and began to sing and even joined a choir. He's currently a grown man living on his own with hopes of someday finding a wife. Daniel Crockett was abused and neglected, being locked inside a room for 7 years. While locked in the room, Danielle was never given solid food, never saw sunlight, and was wearing a diaper at the age of 7. Due to the neglect, Danielle was unable to speak and only weighed 46 pounds. When the abused child was found, she was covered in maggots, lice, and flies. Authorities described Danielle's case as one of the worst cases of abuse they had ever seen. Doctors claimed Danielle was environmentally autistic, and Danielle's mother was arrested, receiving 2 years of probation. Prior to Danielle's removal from the home, 2 reports were made over the span of 3 years claiming there was a starving new child. Despite social workers visiting, no action of removal was taken until 2005. Danielle was adopted in 2007 by a family who was able to potty train her and get her the therapy she needed, but she was never able to speak or even sign. Danielle caused a huge strain on the relationship of her adopted parents, but they continued to care for her. However, they ended up divorcing, and her adopted father eventually became unable to care for her. Therefore, he had to send her to a group home at the age of 18. Her adopted father still visits her and mentions Danielle is more compliant now than she was in his care. Thank you so much for watching our video. We hope you enjoyed, and if you did, subscribe for more content.